Good afternoon. I decided to come back again on here. If you are new to my channel, you have me, Voluminous Mama. So I decided to come back on here and chop it up a little bit. And I want to talk about this great, fantastic book that I'm reading. I've been reading this book for a couple of days, but I've had it for probably about a year, but I'm just getting around to reading it. And it's by Larry Stephen Furtick, and it's Unqualified. And this is the book, Unqualified. So, I'm going to read the back, and then I'm going to read the inside of the book to just get started. And I'll do my best because, actually, I kind of tore the cover. And I got this book on the bargain, bargain books at Mardell's. But I had, I looked at something on YouTube before I purchased this book, and it recommended for me to read this book. And I never got along to it, but it just so happens I was at Mardell's and this book was on sale. And it goes, don't let your contradictions keep you from your calling. Many of us are overwhelmed by gaps between our weaknesses, our dreams, between who we are and who God says we are meant to be. We feel unqualified due to God's work or to lives. The possibility we imagine, but God has a way of using us, using our weaknesses for His good. In fact, God loves unqualified people. This book is about understanding your identity in light of who God is. It's a book about coming to terms with the good, the bad, and the unmentionable in your life, and learning to let God use you. It's about charging into the gaps between your present and circumstances and your future dreams and meeting God there. After all, God can't bless who you pretend to be, but He longs to bless who you really are, a flawed and broken person. Fortunately for us, God is in the business of using broken people to do big things. God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. This book will challenge you and encourage you into a life characterized by powerful dependence and decisiveness. Your life will never be the same. So that says enough in a nutshell. So I'm going to read the other inserts of this book. And then I'm going to go on a little bit and tell you what I got out of it. Because I haven't finished this book, but what I've read so far. What is your greatest weakness? What's really your secret weapon? Our culture tells us that the answer to our failures is to fix them. The solution to our shortcomings is to hide them. The secret to our success is to appear as flawless as possible. But God's qualifying system is different than the world. So it's His view of our weaknesses, our purpose, and our true self. In The Unqualified, Stephen Furtick explores who God is as the great I am, and then helps us discover our own identity. Delving into the story of Jacob Furtick invites us to acknowledge our weaknesses and ask God to work through them. The truth is, God has created us to be more, to accomplish more, and to love life more than we ever thought possible. But to become who He has called us to be, we must embrace who we are right now. Unqualified equips us to face obstacles and failures without losing a sense of purpose. We can have a thriving hope that God is working in us, through us, and not in spite of our weaknesses, but often direct result of them. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the author. Stephen Furtick is a New York Times best-selling author. Sun, Stand Still, Greater, and Crash, Chatterbox. He's also the founder of the lead pastor of Elevation Church, based in Charlotte, North Carolina, which since its founding in 2006 has grown into more than 20,000 attendants. at multiple locations. He speaks at major conferences across the United States and around the world. Stephen holds a Master of Divinity degree from Southern Baptist Theological Seminary. He and his wife Holly have 3 young children. So far, what I have read in this book, it has been very inspiring. It has been very, very encouraging. And he's talked about weaknesses, and he's talked about a little bit in the ministry, and he's talked about people finding out who they really are. And I got to find that because I want to read something that's what I highlighted. He has a chapter that I love called Keeping It Real. And this is what he says. Yes, we are complicated. We'll never understand every thread and knot entangled in the transparency of our identity. But the more you grow, the more you know God. And the more you will grow to know and enjoy yourself. I can't promise you that the journey of self-discovery will be easy. You might have a few closets to clean out. There might be some secrets hidden under the floorboards. But if you can learn to recognize and value the real you, you'll find freedom and peace unlike anything you've ever experienced. So, who are you really? And I've asked people that question. I've asked myself, who are you really and who do you think you are? I did a video and I said, who do you think you are? So, chapter 4, Keeping It Real. He talks about his love in music. And let's see, it's something else that I highlighted. And I'm just going to read what I highlighted because I'm not going to read the whole book. It says, we spend so much energy trying to be like other people. We never let the world hear the real us. Spending so much time trying to be like other people, trying to be what other people tell you should be instead of being who you are. What's worse, we never hear the real us. We never be our real selves. What would happen if we worked half as hard discovering who we really are? What would happen if we worked half as hard trying to discover who we really are? Trying to discover who we really are. We're as we really are. And trying to becoming someone else. How many of us live with buried talents and lost opportunities? It's a lot of people that live with buried talents and lost opportunities. Because we want so badly to be someone else. That we never uncover who we are. And that just spoke volumes to me, because I grew up always wanting to be like somebody else instead of being who I was, or I always wished I could be different than what I really was, because I never like the quirkiness things about me, and they were just some of my weaknesses. Because I was told, that I wasn't a very friendly person, and I need to be more like this and this and this and that. So I just felt bad all the time about being who I was. And I never knew who I was, because I always let the enemy tell me who I was. So we never cover. And so throughout this personal journey that I have been on, that started on March 2017, I have been on the journey to find out and discover who I really am, and be the person who I'm really called to be, and be the person who I am. And so the thing about rediscovering or discovering me is that I'm finding that a lot of people don't even know me. They don't even know me, and they don't even realize that who I am working towards being today is who I'm actually. This is who God has actually called me to be. This is the person that God has actually called me to be. Whatever it was before is not, and I've said it 100 times, is not the person that I was. I don't know who that person was, but it was not the real me. Okay, and nobody gets that. So I'm done with that in a nutshell. So this is something else, and that's it. And it's not going to let me go on. It might let me go 12 minutes. We'll see. We let fear force us into hiding. I let fear force me into hiding. What we've been given, we bury our identity because we're afraid we don't measure up. We bury our identity because we're afraid that we don't measure up, and that's very true. So this is a good book, and it's called The Unqualified by Furtick.